Welcome to Scott Cooks. Today I'm going to be making stuffed green peppers in the Ninja Foodi. Let's get started. I guess the first step to making stuffed peppers is to walk down to the garden and get the peppers. I've already picked a couple, but I need a few more. I'm gonna do 4 peppers tonight. Oh, look at that beauty right down there. Yeah, nothing like a fresh pepper right off the vine. Oh my goodness, look at the size of this one. Yeah, oh, it's a monster. Woo, that's bigger than my hand. All right, I picked 2 earlier, so I'm gonna do 4 of these stuffed peppers. I gotta get some more of these picked too. I see a few more down in there. I like to grow all my own stuff. I'm here in Virginia, and oh, I see some of my tomatoes are turning red too. All right, soon we'll be making about a bazillion tomato dishes. I'm not gonna show you my tomato plants yet, but you'll see them soon. All right, let's go make some dinner. Let's go over the ingredients. I'm gonna be doing 4 peppers. You just saw me pick these from the garden a minute ago, so I need to wash these up. Take the stems out, basically core them so I have a hollow pepper. Got some Parmesan cheese here. Got 1 pound of hamburger, some mozzarella cheese, some shredded. And this is my own pasta sauce that I made and froze. So any good pasta sauce that you guys got laying around would be really good on this. And you know, if you got anything else special you like, I might throw a little onion in with it. You know, whatever. I'm thinking mushrooms. I don't have any mushrooms, but if I had them, I could throw some mushrooms in. So, you know, anything that'd be good in a, kind of think like an Italian sort of dish, although it's not strictly Italian. All right, let's get started. We'll start by browning the hamburger, and while that's browning, we'll get our peppers ready. Start with a pound of good lean ground beef into your Foodi. Mine is slightly frozen in the center there still, but it'll thaw out pretty quick. We're going to use sear saute mode on medium. And if you never used a Foodi before, I'll let you know this heats up really fast. And we're going to start cooking here in just probably 60 seconds or so. While we're doing that, what we're going to do is go over and wash the peppers out, and I'll show you how I... All right, we're going to core these pretty much the way you think that we would. Now we want to be able to stuff them. So we're going to cut right out here near the edge, but we don't want to get too close. We want to leave a nice edge there so it doesn't give way on us while we're cooking, because you know these shrink up a little bit while you're cooking them. So I'm just using a good old serrated steak knife, a Ginsu I think. And you know what I usually do is just press down and then pull up, and there you go. Now I'll take a spoon and just take some of this fibrous stuff off there and just rinse out the inside to get any seeds out, and it's ready to stuff. Let's cut the other ones up. No stem on this one, so we're going to just kind of push down and get our finger in there and just pull it right out. You might hear that sizzling. It's only been a few seconds, about a minute maybe, and stuff's cooking away over there already. So same deal, no stem, so I'm just going to take my finger and reach in. Now what I'll do is go over to the sink, or trash can I guess, and scoop these out, and then go to the sink and wash them real quick, and they're ready to stuff. Once this hamburger is browned all the way through, I'm going to drain the grease and go ahead and get the sauce in. So I want to cook that sauce down a little bit. Now I've made my own sauce from tomatoes from my garden from last year, but whatever you got, ragu, whatever you got is fine. Just put your favorite sauce in here. And we don't want this runny like tomato sauce or like tomato soup. You know, we're after kind of a thick mixture. All right, we're almost done with that. We'll let all that pink cook out. Okay, we've gone ahead and drained the grease, and I'm going to put in my sauce. Now, keep in mind, I made my sauce from scratch, so it is thin. I do not have any thickeners in it. I put my thickeners in when I use it. So we're going to add, still a little frozen there. Let's get that frozen part out. All right, so we'll just reserve a little bit of this until we see what we're at. And because I make my own sauce, I'm going to add in a little tomato paste to thicken it up. This is 6 ounces, so I'm going to put about 3 ounces in, half the can. And we're also going to cook this down, which will thicken it as well. I'm not measuring, but that's about half the can. And I'll use that other half the can for something else. Okay. And we'll leave this on medium, and it will heat back up. Even with that frozen chunk right there, it'll be sizzling and bubbling here in a few minutes. And as soon as it gets warm, we'll start incorporating that tomato paste in. Getting that nice and thick, and then we'll add in a little Parmesan, a little mozzarella, some seasoning, and cook it down real nice, and then stuff our peppers. I'm gonna go ahead and add my seasoning now. You know what I'm gonna use. I use other seasoning as well, but this is by far my favorite. It adds so much flavor, and you just don't need that much of it. It's not the cheapest seasoning on the market, but it goes a long way, so I think it's a good value for what you get out of it. And we're coming back up to temperature now, so go ahead and add a little Parmesan cheese. I'm not going to measure this, but we'll call it a 1/4 cup. You know, I don't like to give exact measurements for things like Parmesan cheese because some people like a lot, some people don't like any. So, you know, it's all quote unquote to taste. But that was probably a 1/4 cup or so for me. I love the flavor of Parmesan. All right, so we're already starting to thicken, as you can see. And as soon as this starts to bubble, we'll thicken up pretty quick. Same as the Parmesan, I'm going to add your mozzarella now as we're bubbling away here. And of course, this is going to get it real thick real fast. We're going to also sprinkle a little of this on top during the baking process near the end, just to melt it over the top. So make sure you reserve a little bit. And once again, to taste. Just let it get all melty and stringy in there and until it gets to whatever consistency you like. That's pretty good for me. That really thickens things up. Okay, we'll melt that down for a while. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to pour this, we're going to shut down the Foodi, and we're going to pour this off into another bowl so that we can go wash the Foodi out, and we also need to let this cool just a little bit before we put it into our peppers. So let's get it into a bowl. There you have it. Now I'm going to go wash this out because we're going to do some air crisping in there. So we don't want that in because it might burn on us. And we also want that to cool a little bit. So I'm going to go wash that. I'll be right back. Make sure your basket is well dried and go ahead and spray it down pretty good with whatever you got. I got some Pam here. I like to use that in the Foodi. And we're going to do what you expect. We're going to just take a small spoon and fill these cavities up almost to the top, but not quite. And then we're going to set it in the basket. Now I'm just going to use a tablespoon. Try not to dribble down this side if you can help it, because that probably will burn or something. So you know how that goes. Sometimes you spill. This big one's holding a lot. This is like a 2-person pepper here. It's huge. There you go. You got about a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch left at the top. You just take that, set it right down in your basket. Lean it up against the side if it doesn't sit stable. And then continue with the other ones. You can, depending on the pepper size, you can get 4. If you got small, I might be able to get 5 in here if I had small ones. Okay. Hot stuff, hot stuff. And just sort of find a place where they'll sit upright or fairly upright and balance. You know, peppers from the garden, they're not perfectly flat on the bottom. I'm not going to put that mozzarella on the top yet, because we want to get these almost charred before. And if we did it now, we would just simply make a big mess and burn the cheese. That's not what you want. Okay, got a little much in that, so I'm actually going to spoon a little back out. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, we're ready to cook, y'all. Let's do it. Close your lid. Power up. Air crisp, 390. A little much. We'll go to 375. And we're going to do 10 minutes, and then we're going to check them. We might roll them a little bit if they're starting to burn on one side, not the other, or darken. So we're going to do this a little at a time, and I don't want to give you an exact time because the size of your peppers is going to play a big part in that. If you got a whole bunch of small ones, it's going to cook differently than a whole bunch of big ones. So the general rule is lift the lid to sneak a peek. So we'll do a little at a time, 10 minutes, check them, turn them if they need it, go another 5, another 5, another 5. And then when we think we're 5 minutes from done, that's when we put the cheese on. We get the cheese on there for about 5 minutes. The 10 minutes is up, and you can see what's happening here. We've got some really nice charred edges. We're getting a little brown on top of the sauce. Let's see, I think you can see this one. So these are getting a little, yeah, they're warm. I think that 10 minutes was it for me. You know, I could spin let's see, that's really charred. That's nice. That's exactly what I was wanting. So I might be able to get away with 1 or 2 more minutes, but I think this is going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and put the cheese on them. And it is so hot in there, the cheese is just going to immediately start to melt. But we are going to cheese them up. First, we're just going to dump some cheese right in the center. And let that start. And then we want a little bit. There we go. And let's just finish those off. Just throw it back on air crisp. And cut it down to like 325. And just let it go, and we'll just give it probably not even a minute. I just let it go at the default 20 minutes, but I'm gonna let that go down about 30 seconds, check the cheese, you know, and then I think we'll be ready. 30 seconds, I'm gonna go a little more. It's 1 minute. I'm gonna go about 30 more seconds and call it done.